Well, let's start from where are you from?
Okay, I was born and raised in the Bronx.
And I'm from the Bronx.
I'm from Highbridge.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Highbridge my entire life.
Okay.
And I'm Puerto Rican. My parents were born in Puerto Rico. Well, my dad was born in Puerto Rico and my mom was born here. But I was born and raised here in the Bronx.
Okay. How long you been in the Bronx for?
So I moved out last year, so 27 years.
Okay. How'd you like it? Be honest, because I have my own stories of the Bronx.
So I am so proud to be from the Bronx. Like I wear it like so proudly and like just with like my whole being. I'm so proud to say I'm from the Bronx. When someone asks, it's like when someone says anything bad about the Bronx, I'm like,
yeah.
Don't even.
Yeah.
But I hit this like phase in my life or like this chapter in my life where it was no longer serving me or making me happy. I did live with my parents and I wanted a different life for them. I wanted to change their lifestyle. I wanted to start slowing things down for them. I'm an only child.
Okay.
So it was really big for me.
You're an only child?
Yeah.
You're Puerto Rican and you're an only child?
Only child. My mom was like,
That's
one
so
and
cool.
done.
Yes, I love
And then
that.
I have a stepdad, so
Okay.
I'm an only child between all three parents. No one else had children.
Okay, got it.
And I think it's because I needed all the attention and they knew that. Like I needed all the attention. Everything needed to be about me. But I basically took on the responsibility of like changing their life and making things better for them and also for me. And I just woke up one day and I was like, I want to buy a house. I was really inspired by my boyfriend who had just bought a home. And I'm like, why can't I do it? Like, why can't I have something for me? My mom raised me to always have my own. So that was always really big for me. I was also raised to not rent and to own. That was just
That part.
like a thing I was always bashed into my head.
Yeah.
So I decided I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with where I lived. The noise, the just overpopulated, the public transportation. I was so unhappy. I was so stressed out. I had so much anxiety. Creating content was difficult with the noise.
Did you get the train? Was that what it was?
No,
Or
it
you
wasn't
got
the train. I have sirens.
Okay.
I also was across the street from the Yankee Stadium.
Ooh,
So games,
Yep.
Parking,
Okay.
everything was just not functional for me and my family, and we had to make a decision to make a change. So then that's when I decided to buy a home and then move out of the Bronx.
Originally, I'm from Spanish Harlem.
Okay.
And when I moved from Spanish Harlem to the Bronx, I cried. I literally cried. I was like, I don't want to move out of Spanish Harlem. And my sister was like, I just got mugged. We gotta go. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, this is my comfort zone. Mercedes makes my grilled cheese. Like, I don't want to move. And when I moved to the Bronx, I was like, all right, this is cool. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, what else is there for me?
Yes.
There has to be something else. And what does that look like?
Yeah.
Like you, I got tired of the noise. And I'm trying to reduce the noise, but I'm not sure how to live in both spaces at the same time. Both spaces meaning like my work here, which is primarily in the city, and then the Bronx.
Well, it's the same for me. I was living in the Bronx and my work was in the city. Events, meetings, lunches, everything, shooting, content. I mean, there's nothing like the city as a backdrop. So I was ready for it. I was more than ready for it. And I still get those moments where I'm in Long Island and it's a little too slow for me and I'm like, I want my fix. Like, I go to the Bronx, I see my grandma, I see my dad, I go in, I come out. And then I go in and there's those confirmations where I'm like, I made the right choice. I'm so happy where I am right now because it's scary making such a huge change. Like, I went from public transportation, walking on foot, living in a Bronx apartment to a homeowner, car. What? It was like...
like a complete...
I feel like I mourned like my previous life and then was reborn because it doesn't feel like a continuation. It feels like two totally separate lives.
Like you stopped and
Yeah, but I'm so proud of being from the Bronx and I love it. I go back and I'm just like, there's certain things I love about it.
Ditto. I get my nails done in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Like Yankee Stadium, this is where I get my nails done.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and I live on Pelham Parkway, and I go all the way to the other side.
Wow.
Just to get my nails
Yeah,
done.
I was going in to do some of my like self-maintenance, and then I was like, okay, I gotta slowly start, you know, finding my people in Long Island where I can stop
Absolutely.
coming into the city, but I still kind of come in and do certain things. Like my primary doctor's still in the Bronx. I went to see her the other day and I'm like, I think I'm gonna keep her. Like,
Yeah,
there's certain
of
things that I'll
course.
sacrifice the trip in, but I like to have that come in and then come out.
So the crazy thing is, not only is she the owner of From the Heels Up, but she's a homeowner, guys. Like, you're an actual homeowner. And it's so funny because you took us on this journey, and growing up, my mom was the type of mother that said, don't get credit cards. Don't, like, save your cash.
Yes.
And then as an adult, it really messed me up.
Yes.
And so I always have like this negative stigma with like credit cards.
Yes. Or debt.
Or debt.
Yeah. Like
I'm
all
no.
debt is bad and like don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like my friends are like, you need a credit card. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So to
Yeah.
this day, I don't have a credit card.
Really?
I swear to you. I don't have a credit card.
Wow.
Because I'm like, my mom instilled
Like
this fear.
that trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I did have a credit card back when I was maybe 19,
Okay.
20. And it was because I worked at a retail store in Taylor Loft,
Okay.
and you had to wear their clothing. And so they kind of tricked us and they said, you can get discounts on this store card. But I'm thinking it's like an employee card. It was a credit card.
Oh my God.
And I went into this massive debt. And I was like, never again.
Yes.
And so just talk about your journey, because I'm terrified of cards, honestly.
My journey, it was like unique. So like my mom instilled so many amazing like financial practices in me. Like she was always big on like taxes and credit and having credit from a young age and building your credit age. And she taught me so much. Yeah. But my mom, there were certain resources my mom didn't have or knowledge that she didn't have. And my dads were always working. And I feel like now where I'm at, I look back and I feel like I was getting from everyone, like friends, family, everyone, half knowledge.
Okay.
So I felt like people in my family would be like, you need to graduate out of college, go to college, and then buy something.
Yeah.
But then like, where was the whole process? Like where,
like they didn't teach you that. They
you
skipped
didn't
that
tell
part.
me anything else. Like you didn't teach me what a down payment was.
Right.
You didn't teach me, a loan. You didn't teach me interest rate. Like you didn't teach me anything else. It was like, buy a house, and then that's when you made it. Like that whole like ceiling, like, okay, you buy the home, American dream, you made it.
That's it.
And I had to learn on my own. Like I, again, was inspired by my boyfriend who had just bought a home, and he taught me and guided me so much, but we had two totally different journeys. So like I had consumer debt, I had credit cards. He never had a credit card. I had student loan debt. He went to college full ride. So I was able to take information from him, but then I also was on my own. Like I had to kind of say, okay, so I ended up going on social media and I found a girl who talked about budgeting and finances, and I reached out to her and I said, can you consult me? I want to buy a home, but I don't know where to start.
Right.
I kind of started like that. Like,
Just
I want
out
to do
the
this.
blue. Yeah.
What do I have to do? And we sat down at a coffee shop and she was like, what's your income? What are you putting into your 401k? Like everything. She dissected it layer for layer. And she was like, you want to buy a home. How much do you want to have saved? I told her the amount. And she said, this is what you need to do. And she broke it down in such a seamless and easy way that I was like, oh my gosh.
It was like eye-opening for you.
It was very eye-opening about budgeting, saving, debt. Everything was so eye-opening for me.
Okay.
And from that day, I always will say from that day that I met her, it changed absolutely everything for me in terms of financial literacy. I started being obsessed with it and reading it, speaking to people who were on the same journey as me, following accounts on social media who were home ownership accounts and things like that. Again, talking to my family, gathering pieces of information. I felt like a lot of people had knowledge, but no one was telling me how to do it. No one was giving me the formula or the guide or like, this is what, so I had to figure it out.
Like no one was giving you a step-by-step on anything.
No
But
one.
what was the most difficult part? Was it the saving part? Because for me, it's
both.
like...
It was, I had to clear debt and then I had to save. So it took me a year to clear debt and then it took me a whole nother year to save. And then the temptation to want to blow the savings.
For sure. For
like,
sure.
It was
100%.
it was so hard. I had to deprive myself of a lot of like travel,
What
buying
about Uber Eats? Because I'm like a big Uber Eats girl.
Oh no, I was like, my mom was cooking dinner. I was
Okay,
taking it to
good,
lunch.
good.
I really had cut back. I was so disciplined. I was so dedicated for 2 years. And I was just like this goal. Like I had a 9 to 5 and my 9 to 5 income basically funded my life. And then I was also creating content. And that was, I guess you would say, full-time but part-time pay, and anything I was making there, I was like, this is saving my down payment. This is the money that's going to help me buy this home. And that's how I kind of split up like that income, and I was able to accomplish what I did. But I think that was the hardest part, discipline. Like saying, okay, I'm going to do this and actually doing it.
Discipline is the hardest part of it all.
Yeah.
What about your mom? Like when you told her like, I'm going to do this.
Well,
What was her reaction?
I mean, it actually came from her. Like I was at work. I'll never forget. I was at work and she FaceTimed me. We FaceTime each other all the time. And she's like, "Why don't you buy a house?" And I was just like, I never thought about it. We owned our apartment in the Bronx. So I came from a history of owning. I never rented. We never were moving constantly. I was super stable with my parents and we owned. So I only knew that way. Okay, we own already. I can't own to go rent. I have to own as well. And my mom's like, you can like buy a house. And I was just like, I never thought about that. It never was something that I thought was an option for me. I had just graduated from college. I was traveling. I'm like, I'm living my life a little bit. Like, I'm just like living my life, partying, traveling. I don't want to really commit into something. But once she told me that, I became obsessive. It was like the idea, like the seed planted, it grew. I was obsessive.
Just ran with it.
I ran with it. I spoke to my boyfriend and he was like, I'm in full support. Like, do it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this.